Hi, everyone, and welcome to Squawking with Seagull, a fitness talk show for college students hosted by a college student. I'm your host, Nick Seagull, otherwise known as Seagull Strength. If you're interested in more great fitness related content, make sure you check out my website, www.seagullstrength.com, or my Instagram at Seagull_strength. Today, for our muscle segment, I have with me my good friend, Alex Berry, also known as the Protein Blender on Instagram.
Bender. Protein
A
Bender.
protein bender. Oh, okay, my bad. Alex is a Alex is a very good friend of mine whom I met freshman year of college at Stony Brook University. Besides being a great friend, Alex is also a huge wealth of knowledge when it comes to all things weightlifting. He's taught me so much based on what he's learned over the years in his own personal weightlifting journey. He's a great gym partner who pushes me out of my comfort zone to try new lifts and splits that I've never even heard of before. He's kept me inspired and motivated to keep working every day so that hopefully one day I'll be as big as him. The great thing about Alex is that he's also a college student. So he's just like me and you. And he understands the struggles of balancing fitness with school and extracurriculars. From splits to gym equipment to supplements to nutrition, he just knows so much. So without further ado, I'll just shut up now and let the man himself do some talking. Alex, first of all, thank you for being here.
Oh, well,
Um,
thank you for having me. It is my pleasure to be here.
Would you like to start off by telling us a little bit about your own personal fitness journey and how you got into weightlifting?
All right, so I want to say the first time I went into the gym, I was probably like 15 years old. And that was just, I went, like some of my boys started like, hey, let's go get strong, let's get big. At first, I guess you could say it was to be big for the ladies.
Yeah.
But I probably didn't get serious into like lifting until I was probably like 17 years old, and that's when I started to like really like look into it, like I need a split, I need to start like tracking my lifts, and that's where at first like Arnold became my big inspiration into lifting. So I guess you could say I kind of like mess with like bodybuilding more, but
Okay.
now like I'm 3 years later, 20 years old, I'm more of like of powerlifting focus, just trying to chase those big numbers.
Awesome. Awesome. And I guess when you first started getting into weightlifting, you said when you were around 17, where did you kind of turn to figure out those splits and those different things to start doing?
All right, so the biggest help for me actually was Reddit, and it wasn't necessarily like the people on Reddit, but it's just like there's a lot of subreddit, like they call them subreddits, that
Mm.
especially the fitness one, that they have like a whole wiki just built for beginners. So I found my first program off that wiki. I read up on everything. They always have like these daily questions threads, like, hey, it's like I got a question, and like someone will answer it, and it's like generally helpful. And also Reddit like links you to a lot of things, so like I said, not necessarily the things you find on Reddit, but the things that Reddit links you to. And so through Reddit I discovered people like Teron Beckham and Jeff Nippard, who are really like, I guess, the people I go to now for like lifting advice.
Yeah. And the awesome thing about I know Jeff Nippard specifically, he's got like that YouTube channel, right?
Hmm.
And he also cites a bunch of research articles where he gets all his information
That's what I'm
from.
be deciding right now is Jeff
Yeah.
Nippard, because he's like probably who I learned like everything like from is Jeff Nippard, because like you said, he backs up with science, which I really like.
Yeah, which is awesome. Which is what I try to do here too, because science is answer to everything in my opinion.
Exactly.
um, well, that's awesome. And then I guess so. I assume when you were 17, you were in high school, and
Hmm.
you probably had more free time to look into weightlifting and everything like that. But I know for me, at least, I also started my journey in high school, and I had time to like even like meal prep at home. Like I had all day Sunday to just like meal prep with my mom
Hmm.
in high school. But then I got to college, and you get swamped with all these like assignments and extracurriculars, and you're trying to like expand your like resume and try to like add things on, and you get busy. So how did you personally kind of keep up with your fitness journey when you got to college and maybe had less time than you were used to in high school?
It's just like I had to make it more of a priority in college, because like college, it had to be a part of my schedule. Like high school, it's like, oh, I'll get my lift in today when I can, because
Mm.
like I would be able to get in sometimes. But like I just had to look at myself and be like, hey, like if you want to keep lifting as like something you do, you have to make it a priority in life. So sometimes like I would have to cut out like hanging with friends, or maybe going out one night because I needed to get a lift in. But like those are just like some of the sacrifices you really had to make in order to like just keep like this fitness lifestyle. Like obviously if you don't want to go as hard as me, you wouldn't have to like make as many sacrifices. But if you definitely want to be into fitness, like you just have to make it a priority in life. So like I would start like studying more in the morning, because I know when it came to like later in the day, that's when I would train more, and that I wouldn't like get either studying in or like training in. So I would just have to like, I just basically just built a schedule, I guess is the best way to put it. Is just because like once you get in like a schedule routine, like things become easier and easier.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I also found use in the type of schedule thing I started. Like I would get my class schedule down and I would like add in a time. I'd be like, oh, here's like a good 2 or 3 hour block that I have in which I can fit a lift in, and like just plan that around your day then. So I'd definitely say that's some solid advice there.
And like I took a hit in what like nutrition wise. Like I used to love cooking. Like high school, I definitely cooked a lot more. But college, it's not that I don't cook as much, is I just cook like easier meals. Like I eat just a lot of rice, a lot of chicken, a lot of beef, like stuff that doesn't take too long to cook. Because I mean, I used to meal prep, like I see you meal prep, but like now I don't know. I kind of just like fell out of that.
Well, when let's say when you make like that, like the meal, I guess with like when you said like the chicken and stuff,
Hmm.
do you have any? I know this is the muscle segment, but real quick, do you have any some secrets on how to make that chicken a little more flavorful? What's your go-to?
You just buy like an all-in-one spice seasoning. I mean, they make some like really good ones out there, and you just kind of just like pour it over your chicken. Like, I mean, cause like people will just do like salt, pepper. I'm like, that's not how you season chicken. Like, you can get like if you like get like a nice like grill seasoning, like you won't get tired of it. I mean, you could also do one thing I did. It's on my account. It's if you take chicken and you batter it with like pork rinds,
Yeah,
it actually makes like a good chicken, and it's like and really low in carbs. So I mean, if you're doing like some keto type diet, it's just like high in fats, high in protein, and that was actually pretty good and pretty cheap.
sounds pretty good. Okay, so back to I guess we'll pivot back to more muscle stuff. I know you're a person that I go to a lot when I'm kind of hitting a plateau in the gym, and I'm like I'm really sick of this one split I've been doing a while. I know last spring, I guess before COVID and everything, you put me onto the GVT split, the German volumetric training,
Hmm.
and that was awesome. I gained so much weight right doing that. It was awesome, but it sucked. uh,
Yeah, yeah. Oh
it
yeah, that's intense. 10 by 10.
yeah, it was
Yeah, that's no joke.
for people who don't know what that is, it's just 10 by 10 of the major 10 sets of 10 reps for the major splits, for the major lifts, and it just kills you at the end of the day. And you add on some auxiliary exercises with that, and you're just dead by the end of the day. But it's really awesome. But Alex, would you like to tell us a little bit about some of your personal favorite splits that you've been doing at the gym?
All right, so like everyone else, I mean, I started with the bro split, basic, uh, like chest and tries, back and bis, shoulders and legs, and like obviously that's fine. But I want to say like probably my favorite split like ever ran. I I don't even know how to categorize a split. But it's Enson's program, so I guess it would be more of like a that would be more of an upper lower day.
Okay.
And that was just like high like volume. It was kind of like German volume training, except it was just wasn't that much. So like you would have your like top sets would be like your third set, but you'd still do 6 sets after. So I mean, I would go on a bench day, and it would just be like 8 sets of heavy bench. And I did that for a while, and that was like that's probably my favorite program, because I like on and off I'm in that program for about a year. But
Okay.
now I'm on Jeff Nippert's program, which I actually like really like. I'm in the middle of running it. It's his power building program. So it's kind of like on and off every week. It's like the first week will be more powerlifting based, second week will be like more bodybuilding based, and that's because you kind of have to like, I don't know, get the mix in on your training, because both high reps and high weight, like so high reps low weight and low reps high weight, those are both like the main ways to build muscle, and they actually build muscle like at the same amount. So like people say like, oh, if I want to build muscle but I don't want to be strong, I just got to do bodybuilding style. That's not the case, because training with low reps and higher weight also builds equal amount of muscle. And hold up, I have it here. But lifting heavier makes you makes you like inherently stronger also. So if I don't know if that makes any sense
Yeah.
what I just said.
So when you have high weight, low volume, that makes you stronger, but the low weight, high volume builds hypertrophy, so it builds your muscles larger, so you look bigger.
That's the myth that I'm trying. I might have explained it
Yeah.
wrong. So like nowadays, like people like say like, oh, that's how you train, and like basically like new studies came out. This isn't all in like Jeff Nippard's. It's his. This is his like Power Building Science Explained series. So like he cites everything in that video. But so they both build muscles like size equally,
Oh,
except training heavier will also make you stronger than training like the lighter weights will, because training for like high numbers is a specific skill, because that's when you're getting into like, oh, how does your form look, how does this like work, how does that work. So strength is a skill, but size is through training. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but
okay.
basically this how this program works is like it gets you get the best of both worlds. So like one way you'll be training bodybuilding, one way you'll be training powerlifting, so you don't miss anything. Because now it like there's new studies coming to light that like if you don't periodize your training schedule, and that basically means, so if you have your year, you break it up to four four blocks of 3 months, you would have to do like a half and half training, a bodybuilding, a powerlifting, and then maybe back to that like bodybuilding style training. But this set uh, a way to circumvent that is through a thing that this program does is heavy top sets.
Okay.
So like I'm sure there's a lot of programs out there that you'll have your heavy top set, maybe maybe 3 rep max, 2 rep max on a bench squat, a deadlift, and then you still do sets after that. And by doing this, it's a way to make sure your gains don't like plateau at all, and you
Hmm.
can keep like pushing through like plateaus and such. So that's why I kind of like this power building program so much, and that's what I'm currently running right now.
That's awesome. So I guess if you're going kind of back and forth with that, I feel like I usually say with a lot of like the programs I do, I try to keep it. I try and switch it up every 4 to 6 weeks, kind of just like that's how I personally feel. That's when I start to stop seeing results. But I guess if you're doing a type of plan where you're switching it up every week, how long do you run that? Do you run it for longer than that, or?
So this I think is actually well, I want to say a 12-week program.
Okay.
There's actually a lot of programs out there at a 12 weeks. But yeah, so this is a 12-week program, and I mean I can keep just cycling through it because I mean it has a built-in deload week. So I'm gonna ask, like, when you plateau, do you deload or any type of way
Um,
like that?
Well, I mean, right now it's kind of hard. I haven't lifted real weights in so long just because I haven't had access to a gym.
Hmm.
So I haven't really been able to do like a real like deload type thing because I'm just using like resistance bands, and I don't really know if that you can really do a deload with resistance bands. It's just because
Yeah, I mean you can't really like put that much like mechanical stress on like the
yeah,
muscle to like that you need a deload. I mean, going back into the gym though, I mean, you should be crushing PRs because you've been training your body differently, and now you're going back there with like
yeah.
different muscles.
I'm hoping, right? Because so I'm at the Southampton campus at Stony Brook, and our campus gym isn't open. But next semester I'm headed back up to West Campus, so I'm hoping to get back to the gym
Get
there.
back to the grind.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm not really sure what split I'm gonna do yet, but I'm definitely looking at that Jeff Nippard one because that sounds interesting.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like where like if you want it, like I can send it to you for you don't have to pay money. But yeah, no, it's this is definitely like, and all of his like programs, like he has a bunch of programs out there, but like this one I like because nowadays you can't really find too many like programs like catered towards like us, like intermediate to like advanced level lifters. Like all these programs, like kind of like beginning to like intermediate, because that's who needs the programs. Like if once you get to that late intermediate and advanced stage, like technically like you should be able to like build like a block yourself. But I mean, sometimes I'm just lazy, man. Like sometimes I
Yeah.
just want like tell me what to do in the gym and I'll do it. And
Yeah.
like this
Yeah.
program does it, and like it kicks my butt all the time in the gym, so it's working.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's what you got to find, something that you love doing, but also makes you feel horrible when you're done.
Exactly. It's that love hate relationship.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess with that split that you're doing, so you have access to a full gym.
Yeah, so I've in the past week I haven't, but when I start, like at Binghamton, they had a gym open that I was training at, and now when I'm back home, I have a gym to train at back home. So I mean, thankfully I'm blessed, unlike some other people who are like you. I mean, but you're making do with some resistance bands and all that, but
You gotta find what works with you. You gotta work with what you got.
exactly.
So I guess with that, do you do cardio? Are you a big cardio
I
guy or no?
So yeah, this is like the kind of like a thing I advocate for is like, like screw cardio, because I mean I just train powerlifting, and like
Yeah.
powerlifting you don't have to train cardio, but I mean I play rugby, And so as like the season comes around, like I'll start like picking up cardio, but like so like right now during COVID I do not, because I physically do not have a need for it.
Okay.
But cardio is like a big controversial topic with everyone is like, does cardio kills gains? Does this, that, and the third? So I mean, I can speak on that but a little bit, but like, so what cardio and like this whole gains thing come down to is cardio can kill gains depending on how like you're doing cardio. So the three main reasons, like, well, I guess three main things that will make cardio, like, you gotta check yourself before you want to see if cardio is killing your gains, is how often you're doing it, how much you're doing, and what type of cardio are you doing.
Okay.
So like if you're doing cardio too many days of the week, it will start interfering with your gains. Obviously, if you do cardio for too long every day, so like you'll have like stuff like this quote unquote list low intensity steady state training. So if you're doing like 40 minutes of running like 3 days a week, like that's a lot. And then also how you're doing it, like the mode of cardio. And I think, in my opinion, this is the biggest factor for like if cardio is going to NP with your gains or not, is because you can do like a low intensity, low stress cardio like cycling or swimming, where there's not much pressure on your muscles. It's kind of just like you're going through the motion, and that's like that won't break down your muscle fibers like let's say like running would, because running you're constantly putting an impact on your foot and you're stressing those fibers. So at that point, I guess you could say it would affect your gains, but it's more of the reason why it's just like your muscles just aren't. It's like a recovering issue, I want to say. So I mean, as long as you have like your cardio like in check, like if you find a nice balance, because everyone's different. Like you'll have some like freak superhumans athletes out there, like I guess you could say like Teron Beckham, Saquon Barkley, like all these like filthy, like these kids can lift a ton of weight and they still have cardio. But like the general population, we're not going to be built like that, and so you have to find like a sweet middle ground, and that whatever works for you.
So when you do cardio for rugby, or just because you're feeling like doing it, what type of cardio do? Do you do the cycling or swimming, or?
So when rugby season comes around, I mean, practice for me is like kind of a lot of cardio, and those are like sprints and all that. But like if I'm on the gym, I want to like do some cardio. I like the stairmaster.
Mhm.
I mean, even though it's high impact, but like if I'm feeling like if I like have a heavy lift that day or heavy lift coming up, like I'll probably hit like the fan bike, something like that. Yeah, that's kind of like my baby, the fan bike, because it's like I don't really like running that much. I mean, I'm that's just like preference. I know some people out there just love running. Like
Yeah.
I don't really like vibe with it. So I mean, that's what I end up doing most of the time is like either like rugby will be sprints, like that's more hit stuff. But if I'm doing it on my own, like I'm more likely to do, I guess, like some lists on on a cycle every now and then.
Just throw on some music in your headphones and bang it out on the fan cycle.
Yeah, pretty much.
Awesome. Okay, so this one is one I know. I feel like when I first started working out, I just went to the gym. I brought my water bottle and headphones, and that's all I got. And then when I met you freshman year, we kind of talked about a bunch of different equipment. And now I head to the gym with, well, when I go to the gym, I head to the gym with a whole gym bag filled with tons of equipment. I got belts and I got wrist straps for benching, and I got different I take BCAAs and whey protein and things like that. And you taught me a lot of that stuff and taught me where to go for that. So I was just wondering, at this point, since the last time we've talked, what's currently in your gym bag? And
I,
um,
I actually got it like by me. So like it all like I always bring my standard green bag, and I feel like everyone has like depending on the day, like a lot of this stuff I don't use every like time I go to the gym. It's like more depending on like how I'm feeling. So I mean, first, as always, I have like a lifting book where I write down like my notes and like how the lift was, just so I can like track myself, like see like, oh, I hit like low numbers this day, but I hit them high. Like how was I feeling? Like why is this different? Like you can try to pinpoint like my, I guess, inaccuracies.
recommend that to keep track of your lifts and kind of how every day goes. It's really important.
This is probably the thing about gym bag I use the most, besides my pre-workout, is just like a steady band. Shoulder dislocations and like pull-throughs, always key. Because I mean, my shoulders, especially for me, because I'm a baseball player, are my weak point. I tore this rotator cuff, so I always have to make sure my shoulders are warmed up before like any day. I even do it before I squat because I like setting up. So that's definitely crucial,
So you
of
use that to
course.
warm up before you start lifting.
Yeah, like shoulder pull-throughs and extensions. Pre-workout, must. I mean, I'm a big advocate for pre-workout. I know a lot of people don't like it, and like my advice on pre-workout is don't take it unless you're ready to always take it, because having a lift on pre-workout is you're not going back to like a non-pre-workout lift. Uh, Knee sleeves. I have bad knees, and I mean, as you start getting up there and like squatting weight, you definitely want to protect yourself. Like, so these are more of like a preventative measure as opposed to like I just have like my knees just crack every time. I just want to make sure that my knees will be functioning when I'm older because I play. I mean, I lift a lot and I play rugby. Um, Lacrosse ball for rolling out. I like it better than a foam roller, A, because it's more portable and you can get deeper into muscle tissue. Like you put it up against the wall, roll your shoulder out.
Nice.
Uh, this is like this I don't really use that much. This is only when I have bad tendonitis. So I mean, whenever my tendonitis is flowing up my elbow, I'll throw this on. It's kind of like just like a band.
Goes
Uh,
right under your elbow or over your elbow?
it goes like kind of like over your elbow and more so above it. So it's more on like the upper half of your arm than the lower half. These things, which I don't know if I ever got the pleasure to use these with you for arm
Yeah,
day.
those the bicep ones.
Yeah, so these are blood flow restriction training, which I got put onto like by a bodybuilder. These are Bradley Martins. Uh, Fantastic. You'll never get a pump like you do with these. So basically how this works, I mean, for your viewers, is you just put it on your arm, tighten it until you literally as tight as it can go, and you just rep out a set. And by restricting your muscles with blood flow, you get like a more of a burn and more muscle fibers will tear, leading to a bigger pump, which is one of the ways to build muscle. And then you get that sweet relief when you take it off and the blood just rushes to the muscle.
I did that with Alex with some bicep curls one time when I met him at the gym, and that was one of the best pumps I've ever gotten.
Then I have straps in case like I go really heavy. Like most of the times I prefer to go just reverse grip now for deadlift. But like sometimes when like I don't know, like maybe I did heavy farmer's walk soon, my forearm's still sore. I'll throw these on. Uh, Wrist wraps. I mean, just standard gym bag in case my wrist. Like I don't use these every time I bench. I barely use them. But like whenever my wrists are feeling it, I have them just in case.
So wrist straps are used mostly for benching to stabilize your wrists so you don't like injure them when you're bending them back. And then the deadlift straps are mainly for
These,
grip.
yes. So like these will like wrap around the bar if you want to like drop the bar. And what people have to make sure with wrist wraps is a lot of people don't wear wrist wraps, right?
Yeah.
Is a lot of people tend to put it on like way too low, assuming you have it, and they just kind of like wrap it around the end of their arm like this. And like this, like it doesn't really do much. Like obviously it stabilizes your wrist a little bit, but doesn't really do much. But like if you really want your wrist to be like locked in place, you got to wrap it around way higher, like on your hand as like an actual wrist wrap. And this will actually like lock your wrist because I mean you're just going you're wearing like this for just a set of bench. Like I know some people like will put on the wrist wrap and like wear it. I mean that obviously offers like a little bit of protection. So I guess it's depending on how bad your wrists are, but you really should be wearing wrist wraps like up on your hand more.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
And,
Thank you.
yeah, no, I see it a lot because when you just think about it, it's like how is this really locking my wrist? Like wearing it tight under your wrist definitely like does a little bit, but like if you really want to protect, you gotta like wrap that thing higher up. And then I prefer like powdered chalk, but most gyms don't like
Oh, wow.
um allow it, so I have liquid chalk. Fantastic. I use my protein. Use my protein for everything. Please
And
sponsor me.
what does chalk do?
It's I mean, it helps with grip for like I can almost like put on more like 50 pounds more if I'm using chalk. So like it's just the weight's less likely to slip in your hands. I use it for deadlifting, but you can also use this for loading heavy lift if you feel like your hands are slipping. Maybe your hands are really sweaty. Just throw on some chalk. You call it a day.
Wow.
Uh, then I got my lifting shoes because I prefer to squat with a heel. I know a lot of people like to squat flat. I don't. I like how because like my hips are a little like my hips are a little weird. So like having the inch on my heel kind of like shifts your hips in a way that it's able to you to sit back deeper into a squat. I'm actually planning on getting a higher heel. Like I think these are half an inch. I'm planning on going up to like 3/4 of an inch soon, but whenever I get the money. So that's my gym bag. And then I also obviously I have my belt and my Theragun, which I use. Belt I use only on heavy deadlifts and squats. I try not to use it all the time for I don't become reliant.
Yeah.
But there are studies that show like wearing a belt does not decrease core activation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, if you wear a belt, like you're not training your core. That's not true. I mean, I personally think it helps me train core more because I'm more aware of my core when there's a belt on, because I feel the belt, I'm tightening against it. But it will not take away from like your core work. And then my most expensive thing, my Theragun, crucial for recovery. I don't know if I did my crazy Russian split. I used to do Smolov for squat, which is pretty much squatting 4 times a week, and doing that on top of
I think I
rugby.
remember you told me about that for rugby, right?
It actually got my legs like right, but like if it wasn't for the Theragun, I would have not have been able to recover in time. So I mean, if you don't know what a Theragun is, it's just a percussion massager. So it's just like it's like massaging yourself after every lift. I do it every night to make sure my body's like recovered, and I can like say like that's a worthy purchase, that I have not been sore after I use that.
That's awesome. So I guess with all that gym equipment stuff, I know you said um, you got a lot of your lifting information through Reddit, and that led you to different areas. Is that also kind of where you found out about using all that gym equipment? Because like I said, when I first started going to the gym, I didn't have anything. And then slowly I just learned and picked up new equipment here and there. So where did you kind of learn to use all this equipment?
Oh yeah, I mean it was all like one way or another through Reddit. So like I would go on Reddit, and like they have like just like videos of like people like talking about like the pros and benefits of like different lifting equipment. They'll have different discussions. You can look them up. This happen all the time. So like I'm scrolling through Reddit, like I would see like a video. It's like, oh, how important is warming up? And they'd be like, oh, one great way to warm up, bands. Boom, I have a band. And like it's like you look up like, oh, my grip is failing on my deadlift, but I think I can lift heavier. What should I do? Oh, you should get chalk. That's the first step. And if not, they make things called lifting straps, which will just carry the weight for you, take your grip out of the equation, call it a day. And I mean, I guess through one way or another, everything I got here is connected to through Reddit.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, that's definitely a lot of helpful information. There's some stuff in your bag that I don't have that I might be interested in getting for myself once I get back to the gym. But I guess just a little one last question, so I don't take up too much of your time. Do you have any words of motivation / advice for all the people out there debating whether or not to start lifting?
Just do it. Just do it. I mean, there's so many people out there who, and I see, and like there's a ton of people on Reddit like this, because like everyone on Reddit, it goes from anywhere entry level beginner hasn't walked in the gym yet, is just curious, to like you have like like there's sometimes you'll see like champions on Reddit like commenting. Uh, a lot of people's big concern is, oh, I'm going to the gym, people are gonna judge me.
Mm-hmm.
uh, I'm sorry to curse, but no one gives a fuck about what you're doing in the gym. Everyone is there for themselves and to better themselves. And honestly, the people in the gym, like I see new people in the gym and I love it. I'm like, I love the fact that you're going out of your comfort zone for the first part. You're going to somewhere you're not good at lifting. Like you're gonna look like you're embarrassing yourself, but I can tell you right now, no one cares what you're doing. If you're doing something that's crazy and like it's gonna hurt yourself, someone will be like, yo, like don't do that, we'll teach you. But like don't be worried about making an embarrassment of yourself, because no one cares. We're happy to see you making that first step into bettering like your lifestyle and getting into the gym. Then if people are judging you in the gym, they're assholes. Like they should not be in the gym. No one's in the gym to judge people. And if you're in the gym for that reason, get the fuck out the gym. I don't want to see you. But yeah, if you want to get into lifting, just start doing it not every day. Maybe start 3 times a week. Once that gets a part of your routine, it just becomes easier and easier.
You'll get slowly addicted to it too.
The sweet endorphin, that release of just pressing big weight, and you just want bigger numbers. It becomes an addiction. He's like, oh, I lifted 225 on bench, time to get 315. And once I hit 315, I'll be strong. Just hit 315. I don't think I'm strong yet. I want to hit 405. It's a never-ending cycle of just I want bigger numbers.
Right. You just hit 315 on bench?
I hit 315 back in August. I know I posted that video a little late on my page, but I hit that back in August. I'm going for 345 in like 2 weeks. So hopefully I can hit that.
Well, I completely agree with that advice. One thing I always say is people always go to the gym and they see all these huge people and they get intimidated, but everyone started somewhere, all these huge people.
We all started like you. We didn't like just get big overnight. Like this is years of work, and like don't be afraid to ask for help. If you don't know how something works or you don't know if you're doing something right, go to the biggest guy, ask him. Those biggest guys in the gym are 99% of the time nicest kids you'll ever meet.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yep, that's great advice. Well, thank you so much, Alex, for coming on Squawking with Seagull and sharing
Thank you for having me.
Information. And to our viewers, thank you for watching this second segment of Squawking with Seagull. And don't forget to tune in next week for a live guided meditation led by yours truly. And make sure you follow me on Instagram at Seagull_strength, or visit my website, www.seagullstrength.com. So you make sure you don't miss out on any of this great content. Make sure you throw Alex a follow too. It's at the Protein Bender, right?
The Bender. It is the Protein Bender.
Awesome.
I'll be willing to help with all your deeds. Any questions you need, don't be afraid to ask.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Happy lifting, everyone, and have a great day.